We're live. Sounds like notifications are working, so that's good. See if anybody shows up. I think Ike Stevens just went live. Goat's Dad, Newhouse, what's up? Oh man, yay! Notifications are going out. Daniel Adami, what's up? Chillin. Heath Close, what's up? When are you gonna launch that channel of yours there, Heath? Thank you, Jeff. Um, yeah, there was a show called Coffee and Cars that was 10 to 1 this morning. I'd forgotten about it until my wife drove by it and said, "Hey, there's a car show that you and Ed could go to." And so I kind of piddled around here, and next thing I know, I didn't know it was only until 1. We go and it's gone. But then the one at Steak and Shake was going, so we thought, oh, we'll just go in there. So Highway Surfer Dave, what's up? Firebird, hello. CPAP, driving to Laredo from the house. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, Daniel? But I appreciate the kind words on the um the car show. Man, these GoPros are perfect for car and truck shows because of the wide angle lens. And then also, you know, in day 2 of my GATS videos, I showed like the smaller tripod, but what I actually use is this. This extends. Um, this actually extends to about 6 feet, and it really gets me like in places that you normally couldn't look. Um, like I wanted to see what was on top of Little Dog's truck, his hood, because you can't see it from the ground, but I was able to see it with this. It allows me to be over people, so people can't get in my way. It's perfect for car shows and truck shows and stuff. And that's the first time I ever used that GoPro was at GBATS last year. So it's I like it. Light Bright, what's up? Oh, yeah, it does reach into a sleeper. I could really get into the vehicles with that thing. Adam Gallagher, what's up? Recon Trucker, hello Hector, how's it going? Did you like that your truck made an appearance on one of my videos? Just don't use a GoPro in a way that anyone could claim you're doing something wrong. Right. You got to be careful. I took some crowd footage on Saturday, but I deleted it because um, you have to be careful, especially when kids are in the mix. You don't want to show other people's kids. I wouldn't want my kids on somebody else's YouTube channel. So you got to be real careful with that. Yeah, it was local CPAP. CPAP asked, haven't seen your car video yet? Was that local? Yeah, it was. It was just a small one. There was a bigger one earlier, but we missed it. So, Cowboy Holler, walk softly and carry a big stick. Almost in California. Man, you're running. Hope you're getting a good rate. Juan, what's up? I was looking at stuff picking up Friday, and that might pick up Friday, and then I could deliver it Tuesday. Stay home and then deliver it Tuesday. But that wasn't happening. I was looking at stuff picking up on Tuesday, and nobody was budging on the rates because you know Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it's 3 days for them to find trucks, and they know that the guy's going to be desperate to move that went home for the weekend. So I could even get the 90-day average, let alone the 15-day average. So, and actually posted my truck this time, and not one bite, not one nibble. So Big Row, little truck, what's up? You got a beast load, CPAP? CPAP, I liked your numbers video you did this morning. You should be. CPAP says I'm not going to stay, but it was big money. If you guys are running this weekend, you should be getting big money. You know that's the thing with the spot market is you have leverage when it comes to holidays. That's how you make money out here. Whoever has the leverage has the upper hand, and if you're in a dead area, then the brokers have the leverage. If you're in a really good area and loads need to move, you've got the leverage. If you post your truck and you get a lot of emails or calls, you've got the leverage. You know, like normally if you call a broker and say, hey, I'm looking at your load, whatever, and let's say it's a 150-mile deadhead and you're trying to tack that onto the price, and you tell them, yeah, I need a couple extra for the deadhead, and they're like, your deadhead is not my problem. There's 50 trucks in the area that will take that load versus you that's not in the area. But if you post your truck and they call you, now you've got that leverage. Now you can say, well, I got a deadhead 150 miles. What are you going to give me for that? So it's all about leverage, people. It's all about leverage and the bottom line and what you can move it for. Your co-pilot's passed out. 4,400 overall for the week. It's good for me. I'm sure y'all mostly do better. Ghost Dad, you know, what Ghost Dad's referring to is he's still a Schneider. And, you know, we are making good rates in the spot market, but I do know that rates are pretty decent right now in the Schneider world. I've got a friend of mine that's killing it over there. So it just, you know, you got to stop thinking negative, in my opinion. And we've had that conversation before. You know, don't, you know, for example, I've got a friend that's over at Landstar, and he's making a killing. I got a friend over at Schneider, but friend at Schneider's got more consistency. So it all depends on how you look at it. So Hawaii is mostly local driving, no way stations. How do way stations work on the mainland? It depends on the way station. Highway Surfer Dave. Legal limit on interstate is 34,000 on your drives and 34,000 on your trailer. With a total of 80,000, and we've got what they call pre-pass, where you get a bypass light or you might get a bypass lane, but it's you pull in when you're told to. That's pretty much it. If there's no pre-pass, then you have to pull in if they're open. Big Rose says, my company took my Pete away and gave me a new LT. I think I actually like the LT better. I know that a friend of mine's company just bought a whole bunch of them LTs. White. Okay, we've already read that. Thomas Wilson, what's up? Just got the notification. Yeah, notifications have been messed up here lately. 4,400 at Schneider would be 67.69 total gross on open market. There you go, Newhouse. See, that's how you have to look at that, because remember, Schneider, you're getting 65%. So if you want a higher percentage, then you need to make moves to make that happen. But Newhouse has it right. If you've grossed 4,400 at Schneider, that would be 67.69 total gross on an open market. So, you know, you never had a pre-pass before you came to Advanced CPAP. You didn't have one at Schneider. Big Tex, what's up? There you go. New house says take your gross at Snyder and divide it by 65% gives you total gross. Right. So, is there anything you guys want to talk about? I really didn't have any specific topics. I know that there's been some buzz on the YouTube about a couple of things. But I'll be playing the Tuesday morning shuffle, trying to get out of here. Then I'm going to run pretty hard in September. Work on your price. My numbers 50 is easy, 60 miles. Even on the anchor loads on the broad, they will move up 50, $100. Big row, little truck. When okay, so let's say you're at Landstar. Okay, I'm going to use that as an example since I worked there at one time. If you see a load on their low board and it says it grosses $1,000, okay, your cut is 650. At Snyder, the gross revenue is they've already taken their percentage. You're getting 65% at Snyder as well. But your gross number there is after their cut. See, a lot of these guys that post their numbers are posting before their carrier's cut. And you have to look at the numbers after their cut. And the way Snyder does it is if a load is paying $1,000, Snyder's cut after is $650, right? So it's on the low board for $650. Does that make sense? What it does is it makes the math easy for the Snyder owner operators. In the spot market, if you got your own authority, you're getting 100%, right? So some companies pay 85, some companies pay 80, some companies pay 75, some companies pay 65. And you have to, I always pay attention to the numbers after the carrier's cut. Right. You just left Springfield yesterday. Well, I was here, dude. You should have hollered at me. That was a cool Gats video series you posted. Thanks, nailed it. Have you talked to Roscoe? He has been unusually quiet. No, I haven't talked to him. Nailed it. I tend not to bother my friends when they're at home, and I know he went home. He had this funky pair of sunglasses that he promised that he was going to go live with. So I'm not sure what happened to him. I don't think anything bad's happened to him. He might just be recouping from. We basically took a week off, all hanging out. So you were in Snoreland this morning. Where did you? Oh, Perryville, Missouri. I see a lot of loads picking up there. On our low board, whatever's listed is what we get. Right, Goat's Dad. And what a lot of people realize is that on the low boards like that, any of the open market stuff, you got to take your cut after. So it's kind of a different system. So you can't really, I've always told the Snyder guys this. The only similarity between running the spot market and running the Snyder low board is that you choose your own freight. That's it. That's the only similarity. Everything else is different. I started out tracking just my cut, and then I wanted to see what the carrier was getting. I was amazed at what they actually was making off my. Then I realized what I was paying for on the chargeback. Benjamin Duke, that's good. That's a good, valid point. If your carrier is doing quite a bit for you, it might be worth whatever percentage you're getting. In my case, it is worth it because of how my contract is written. Jeff has mentioned it before, but I don't get charged for all the different insurances, and I don't have trailer fees. I don't have any of that stuff. So it's worth it to me. Now, there are other companies out there where you're paying a lot. You're paying for a trailer rental, you're paying for cargo insurance, you're paying for all the fees and the card fees and everything else. You know, I notice a lot of people that work for these companies tend to get their own authority because if you're going to pay all that stuff, you should just get the 100%. Right, Big Road. All the money shown on the Snyder load board is to the truck, no math involved. Correct. The difference in the cost at Snyder is that you're paying for all their perks with that percentage. Right. Right. Benjamin Duke says, then I started being concerned with what service they were providing. And my carrier provides an excellent service. And so it's worth the percentage that I get for me. Now I do track the numbers, the total gross numbers. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I blindly, shut that out. Because I want to gauge how much I'm making for the carrier. And that way, if that way I feel like I'm an asset to the company, because if I don't feel like I'm an asset, then adjustments need to be made. So that's why, but when it comes to the numbers that I need to evaluate myself, then I just worry about stuff after my cut. So a lot of times, if I want to make a certain rate per mile, then what I'll do is I'll add the carrier's cut. So if I can get the rate for above that, then I get my bottom number. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense or not. Very rarely do I make sense.
You make dollars.
Right. In reality, what is the carrier actually doing for their cut? Well, in my case, they're paying the cargo insurance. I have no card fees, and I'm not worried about not getting my money. And I get paid after every load, and I don't pay for permits. I don't pay for, I have to provide my own DAP board. I have to provide my own pre-pass, that kind of thing. But and my plate. But for the most part, um, I got a pretty good deal, and not every company is set up like that. So in the case of Snyder, you've got access to the low board and their vast array of freight because when the spot market goes up and down, Snyder's pretty consistent. So you pay that extra percentage for that. Snyder pays for tolls in most states except for Illinois or except for Indiana and Ohio. Um, they don't charge you for the ELD, and whereas Landstar you get charged for the ELD, and you're not paying for cargo insurance at Schneider. So you got to look at the cost. Lil Blackie, hello Snowlord. I'm in the market for my first rig and trailer. Is it normal to feel nervous about the whole situation? A wise friend once said that if you don't feel nervous about the situation, then there's something wrong. So yes, it is normal to feel nervous. And what you have to do, wait, let me rephrase that. I don't like using that term. What a person should be able to do is you have to think of the worst case scenario. What happens if you hurt your leg tomorrow? Do you have a backup plan? What's the worst can happen if the bank repos your truck? You hear people losing their house, you hear people losing everything. The worst that can happen for me is that the bank takes the truck back. I take a ding on my credit, but I'm not sacrificing, second mortgages to pay for the business. So you have to look at your worst case scenario. Will you be able to survive when things get absolutely at their worst? I missed a comment here. Wife and I are thinking very seriously about Schneider Choice in a year, maybe two. We will see. As a team, I don't know. I would talk to some teams out there before I would make that move. Dennis Smith says, but you got to pay for an entire office staff behind you. Yeah, I mean that's the point. I mean, think about all the permits that Snyder has. You don't have to think twice about the intrastate, that kind of thing. And you have a 24-hour support system, pretty much, But you also pay for Snyder to control their own load board. Right. Well, the carrier, if you're signed on with a carrier that has their own load board, they control the load board anyways. Like, right. Yeah, somebody else asked about Roscoe, and I haven't heard, so I'm assuming he's okay. But it's the weekend, so maybe it's just kind of quiet. Stu Manchu, your own authority, you're going to pay factory more for insurance and fuel, so 100% is probably 9%. Right. That's the other thing. I get fuel discounts that I may or may not get on my own. So if you count up the extra expense, my percentage wouldn't be much different than what I'm making now. You have $52K in the bank right now? Good deal, man. You're golden then, little Blackie. There are far worse settlements out there than what you have. Some companies will just keep marrying you in the hole. Right, Adam. Oh, her riding. Okay, then yeah, then that's not a bad move there, Big Road. Jeff is pretty much the office staff. That percentage for services seems very fair. It is. I mean, there are other companies out there that you're paying. Your costs are high, and our costs aren't high here. So if I have a reasonable truck payment, reasonable trailer payment, and I don't have any tickets or marks on my record, then we're golden. I worked on my minimum rate per mile, then added the carrier's percent, but I have seen you have to go up a bit past that to take away their percentage to get your rate. If that makes sense, you're 80-20 and you want $2. Right. Big Yeti is jealous of my beard. No, you're not. I'm in a really good situation, guys. I am very blessed because, Jeff's reliable. Big Rich, what's up? CPAP says my big deadhead killed my rate per mile average in August. Going to beast mode till Christmas to make it up. You'll have to get $2.45, says Benjamin, to get $2, not $2.40. Right, but if your minimum rate per mile is $1.80, then you're still good. You just try for that extra. Big Rick Bill, what's up? It was nice meeting you, by the way, Bill, at GATS this past week. Big Eddie says, congratulations to my new driver, Gary Compton. Look for a video to come soon. Yeah, Big Eddie, he signed on Gary Compton. If you guys don't follow Gary on YouTube, he was a Snyder IC, and he decided to take his truck over to Yeti. He's got one of them fancy new black trailers. Jeff Beard says, we're all blessed. That's one thing people don't realize enough. Absolutely. You got to count your blessings every day. There are times when I've caught myself getting depressed about really nothing in general. Just I don't know. I think bad diet contributes to it, and I haven't been really bad depressed here, in the last 6 months. But um, when I find myself getting down a little bit, I think of how blessed I am. And that's the thing. The truck show showed us really how good of a friendships that we had. So. Bill says, I wish I could have hung out longer, had to get a load out of Dallas early. You and a lot of people. I think next year I might just show up on Friday, leave out Saturday morning or something like that. Or show up Wednesday and leave out Friday, something like that. I don't think I'm going to spend, an entire 3 days there, 4 days. Yeti says, I'm going to have a little bit of fun with Gary on this video. His wife was kind enough to send me some very funny photos. Uh-oh. Rican Trucker says, a lot of paperwork and stress with your own authority. That is the exact reason why I don't get my own authority. Because I've got it good at like trucking, number one. Number two, I am horrible about paperwork. Dennis Smith says, GATS 1 or 2 days, Matt's all of them. CPAP asking, who's going to GBATS in Joplin? Benjamin Noob says, Jeff's doing the paperwork for all the truck and running his own truck. Why can't you not run your one truck? It's just a realization. There's a value to it. It's not realized its value. I've got to get to that point. I know what my weaknesses are. And once I overcome those, then who knows what's in the future. There was a time where I said I would never, ever, ever get my own authority. However, I know more now than I did when I first said that. So the word never is no longer in there. But right now I'm comfortable. And I believe that if you're comfortable and you've got a lot of opportunity, then go for it. There's a lot of things I would lose. Like, for example, a new authority, there's a lot of carriers that won't use you. With the new authority, your insurance goes up a little bit. So there's a lot of security. Just like Schneider, gave us a security blanket, Jeff does too, versus having your own authority. So, after factoring and the paperwork and everything else, it's worth it to me for the percentage that I pay. Snore, quick question. Go for it, Ghost Dad. We will all be there in support of the Special Olympics. Okay, yeah, we were talking about GBAT. So I'm still on the fence whether I'm going to be in the convoy or not. But yeah, at least three of the light guys are going to be there. GBATS is different, guys. It's not like walking around the building. If you haven't been, it's an outdoor hot rod show, like the car show video I just put up. Imagine that, but with big trucks. That's what it is. If it rains, you're out in the elements. So, and then at the end of Saturday, you all line up in the number that you registered in the convoy, and then you all go downtown. There's a concert downtown. You're kind of stuck there until all the trucks clear out. But it looks like the Yeti Transportation will be all there. Newhouse says he'll be at Matt's. Can you give feedback to GATS? Would they listen to drivers for the next show? It needs to change. I don't know, Gear Grinder. I don't know who to talk to about that. What elements are you wanting to change about GATS? Snowlord Jeff and we all would be there to support you if you ever got your authority. I know. I could call Jeff tomorrow and say, hey, dude, I'm getting my own authority. And then he'd lay out the plan. 4 years ago, I didn't have that. But right now, I'm comfortable. Right now, I'm doing all right. So, and the other thing is I want to help Jeff build his company. There are other guys in the camp that want to get their own authority. That's their ultimate goal. But for now, I just want to help Jeff build his company. Do we have to file our 2290? SFI does all of our stuff. You have to at least file it. What Schneider does is you're given the option to take the money out of your escrow or you get to pay it yourself. If you have Schneider take out the money out of your escrow, then you still got to use the e-file service, and that is paid, prepaid, and then you get the watermark. All the corporatism for the start is and yet he's talking about regards to GATS. Seeing that GATS is 80% trade show convention, that corporatism is what makes their money. I mean, those companies are paying big money to get their names all over the place. And, when you're paying, like I spent $60 in food. Do you know how many times I ate a day at the convention center? Once a day. And I was up to $60. And it's not friendly to the little guy. There's a lot of companies there that are trying to appeal to fleet owners. And so when you have that in the mix, there's going to be a lot of corporatism. Now, all the stuff that happened with the parking lot and the food out there, it was supposed to be free food and it wasn't, all that stuff. I have no idea because we kind of stayed in our own little corner. And I think that the rules of you can't cook food for donations and stuff like that, I think that's kind of bogus. I think that's kind of lame. So there might be some number or email that you can contact, Neil that says difference is that Jeff can take a couple of days off for the short runs that he runs. It takes time for all the office work. Jeff is the master of streamlining. Okay. That was why the Snyder program appealed better to him than Landstar when he went from Landstar to Snyder, because it was streamlined and it was efficient. And that was the appeal to me. And Jeff is taking everything he's learned and he streamlines it. So it might take him a half an hour to do payroll. It might take him, and he does these high dollar, short, big money runs. So he might drive a couple 100 miles at the most, and then he's got plenty of time to do all the paperwork and stuff. Hey, Brent, what's up? Yeah, your tea was $20, but you got this cool cup, Keith. Right, Benjamin Duke. I'm not going to read all that, but that's it. Right. there, they say these shows are for the drivers. If it really was for the driver, why keep everyone under their thumb? I won't be attending any more shows unless I'm there for a charity. That's understandable, Big Eddie. I have yet to go to Matt's. And if you're asking me if I'm going to Matt's this year or next year, I guess, right now I'm in the mood to say no. However, I would like to experience it just once. Right. I agree. Nailed it. Jeff has taken the time, says Benjamin, show everyone all over the stance to be knowledgeable of the problems you'll face, then plan to overcome those issues. Next Gen, what's up? If I haven't said hey to you, my memory shot. Let's see. Little Viking Coach, what's up? You're trying to go to Matt's. Okay, that's probably what you're talking about. On the way home from the show, I stopped in Mobile, Alabama, says Brent, and did the USS Alabama tour. Interesting museum with battleship, submarine, aviation section with the SR-71. Cool. Your yard is only 2 hours away from Louisville. Well, that gives you an advantage. Right, Benjamin. I know how Jeff has streamlined it. So if I want to get my own authority, I know how to streamline it. But right now, I don't need to. Travis likes Jeffrey's Power Wagon. I doubt he's selling it. Big Rich. My name means strong and rule. I've got all the tools I need to get my own authority, but right now I'm happy where I'm at, so there's no need to. So we're gonna cut this off at an hour. So if there's something else you guys want to talk about, but yes, GBATs will be fun. Practically in my backyard, and you can see it all within half a day. Right, nailed it. See, here's the thing. If you want to grow your business, then grow your business. If you work for a company, or you're signed on or leased onto a carrier, and you've reached your maximum amount, okay, then it's time to grow. Then you move, okay? A lot of drivers switch because the grass is greener syndrome, okay? Now, we've talked about Schneider a lot in this feed. Schneider is running commercials on the radio, and they say, drivers, is the spot market not what it was cracked up to be? Why did they do that? Because there's a lot of owner-operators that took their Schneider finance trucks to different companies to get in on the spot market rates. And when the rates tanked and they weren't getting that $4 a mile that they thought they were going to get, a lot of them came back. And Schneider took advantage of that. Gary Compton going from Schneider to Big Eddie Transportation, that is a step. CPAP going from Schneider to Advanced was a step. Me going from Schneider to Like Trucking was a step. Will I make the next step? I don't know. I would rather have my ducks in a better row if I'm going to make that step. But see, I'm satisfied where I'm at, And there's a lot of things that I don't have to worry about. And to me, that peace of mind is worth the percentage that I pay. And I get a good percentage, guys. It's not like I'm getting 65%, you know? I sat through a few meetings, says Yeti, while at GATS, and the corporate folks treat us like children. The only one I enjoyed was Uber. That's common, Big Eddie, with all these corporations. And everybody's talking about, FMCSAs having the listening sessions about the new ELDs, or not ELDs, the new regulations. And there was a time where they did those listening sessions, and they had, I want to say Satellite Radio had like a townhouse forum where they were playing it live, and drivers were complaining about the smallest things. So there's a lot of people at the corporate level that just don't take drivers seriously, and for good reason. When I was at Transland, I was part of what they call a driver committee, and our job was to be the liaison between driver and corporate level. In other words, we filtered out all the unnecessary stuff, and then we had the ear of the corporate people to talk about the serious issues. And maybe that's what GATS needs, is some kind of driver committee that could, say, hey, you know what, this is the opinion of all these drivers. We need to do something about this. Diesel, what's up? Drawing with crayons and asking us to dream of what we would do with the next amount of money. Treat me as an adult, not a child, and maybe I'll be more helpful to you. On top of that, yeah, I understand, Big Eddie, and I hate corporatism as well. And that's one of the things that probably where I might only go a couple of days. And I said in my videos, guys, that the best part was hanging out with all of our friends. If I was by myself, it wouldn't have been any fun. Rate living in Southwest Ohio for Snyder Choice. That's one of the best spots you could live in, Big Road. I've done everything haphazardly and incurred massive debt to start my business. No planning, no budget, no resources, says Big Rich. I gambled a lot too on mine. I put my down payment on my truck on a credit card. So with Jeff, if you felt you reached the max, couldn't you always buy another truck and add it on with Jeff? I don't know. I don't know if Jeff would be open to that idea. Number one, but number two, I don't know if I'd be open to that idea. Here's the thing, guys. The best way to have multiple trucks, if you're going to buy 2 or 3 trucks and then hire drivers, I think the best way is to do your own authority. There's a lot of people that said that you could do it at Landstar, because there are agents that own 10 trucks. The only problem is it's hard paying a driver what he's worth when you're getting 65% of the line haul. So that plan that I originally had is out the window. Now, if you're getting 100%, but then you got to run into benefits and you got to run into the whole, W-2 and 1099. It's a big hassle. A hassle that I would almost get my own authority before I would do that. Nailed it. Oh, okay. I hear you, Benjamin. That's cool. Steve, is there a comprehensive list or document somewhere that I can get that shows all the states that require a permit to haul beer? Argue with the JB Hunt broker last week, Ohio to Michigan beer load. If there is, I don't know, Bill. Check with the, I don't know. There's got to be something out there, but I don't know. OOIDA might be a. I would start with OOIDA. Also, Bill, look at if if you're not on Facebook, get on Facebook and then be a part of Rate Per Mile Masters pages, and there's a lot of people that have a lot of knowledge that can help you with that. Next time I go to one of these shows, I need to figure out how everyone learns where the after hours parties are. Brent, I hear you, Brent. Definitely don't take the broker's word on it, though. I just realized hours of service is just fine the way it is. I make decent money with it. I heard they're going to change it. Hours of services is true. They're looking at changing things. They're looking at taking out the 30, and they're looking at extending the 14-hour window. Yeti says, just follow the tubers, Brent. And he said, I tried. Snowy wouldn't let me in his Uber. Oh, come on, Brent. That was a private dinner that Pale Rider and I were invited to. That had nothing to do with you, man. I thought I told you that. Now, the next night, you could have followed us to the Uber dinner and we could have hung out. Oh, okay. All right, Brent. You guys hear that snoring in the background? That's my son, Snore Alert Jr. He's waiting for me to be done with this live feed so we go get something to eat. He's snoring pretty good. Hey, Ed! Ed! Ed!
Yeah.
You're snoring on my live feed.
Oh, sorry.
I did leave a red line on, Big Rich. It's a dog barking at it. When you have equipment to lease to a carrier, you're under the thinking that carrier will bail you out with backing. In most cases, that's not true. A maintenance account. There's a lot of aspects to being at like trucking that is you got to kind of have your stuff together. There's really no. You have to create your own safety net. That was one of the things at Landstar that was appealing to me was that after 90 days, if you had a major breakdown, Landstar would probably help you out, and you just have to pay them back per each week. And the problem with that, though, is that there were people that were relying on that. And I know a driver that had a truck that broke down like on his third time. They're like, you know what, you need to get your act together. We're not paying for it this time. And the guy went under. The guy no longer is in business. And so, as a business owner, you can't rely on the carrier as a net for anything. If you're an owner operator for a big carrier like say Schneider or Prime, you're paying for that freight pool that they have. Landstar, you have you have the low board, you have all the tools that they give you. Schneider has a huge freight base. That's what you're paying for. But as far as the safety net for your truck, that's why a lot of guys get lease trucks like Schneider Finance or Prime or whatever, because you do have a safety net with those. But like here, if you have a $10,000 repair and you can't pay for it, that's on you. And that's what enables Jeff to be really streamlined. Now, later in the future, who knows? But some of the best carriers that you want to sign on to, you kind of have to have your act together to be there. And that's how like trucking is. It's still on. You're going to leave it on? Okay. Hey, Tex, what's up? When it comes to owner operating, how do you pay for medical and retirement? I'm very blessed that my wife gets medical insurance. I have a couple of friends that have to supply their own health insurance, and that's just part of your rate per mile that you add. As far as retirement, you try to invest money and put money aside. That's the thing. You're it's up to you to put your money aside for maintenance, money aside for retirement, money aside for taxes. That's all on you. Safety net, yeah. Save, get your personal accounting practices in order, and then apply what you have learned, says Benjamin. Cash on the mattress and investments. There you go. There's a couple. CPAP has talked about the stock market stuff. Um, that's always a good route. I know a couple of friends that utilize that route. Um, the money I make from monetization for YouTube, that all goes to a savings account that I just forget about. So all the super chats and everything I get, that's where that goes. And at the end of the year, if it doesn't have to pay taxes, if it doesn't have to pay for a major repair, then it gets invested. So Nailed it says, I wouldn't want to be Woody with, I think, 7 drivers, 24-hour stress with drivers you really don't know in your trucks. I don't think sand tack makes heartburn medicine strong enough for the use. Nailed it. I agree. Woody's business plan is, I'm not sure if I understand it completely, but I think the safety net there is that they're able to run off of Prime's freight base. So as far as putting drivers in trucks that you don't know, that would be stressful. Like owning the trucks and putting drivers in them, that's a stressful gig, guys. And I see it all the time on Facebook. These guys like, huh, I'm having trouble finding good drivers, so they have trucks that sit. When they do find a driver, they're not good with the truck, or they got pets that destroy it. That kind of thing. And that's a road that I don't feel like going down. Right, big text. That's why big text. If you're not reading the live chat, stock market is too high right now. You know what they say: what goes up must come down. That's why you put in a pretty safe, slow building um, investments. Bill says I'm lucky too. I'm retired Navy, so all my medical is supposed to be paid for. There you go. Vanguard Index Fund better than 401k for retirement. Too many fees. 401k. Little Viking Coach, right? Little Viking Coach is basically referring to there are other avenues that you can take. You just got to do some investigation. Wait till the market collapses, then invest. That's where the money under the mattress thing comes in. Benjamin says there are many people that have leased on several trucks to carriers. The model was take a smaller profit from each truck, but get as many as you can to get the amount you deem is good. Right. Someone once told me that JB Hunt only has to profit a penny per mile per truck. And they're golden. And that's volume. When you've got 2 trucks, I have a friend that has a small company similar to Jeff's, similar to Yeti's, and he is doing lease trucks now. But he's got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience and a lot of years. It's like you want 12,000 or $1,200. How many miles are you going to drive to make that 1,200? It's just a math problem, right? Thank you, Brent. I appreciate that. Brent just gave me $5 for a coffee for my retirement in 20 years. It's about all I'll be able to afford. That's why JB Hunt drivers sit a lot waiting for loads. Right, and that's why the rates are pretty low. LVC. See, a lot of, in my opinion, and these are all just my opinions. I'm not an expert, okay? If you can afford to sit until the rates get better or until you find your rate, that's great. But if you're in a situation where you're not moving for 2 weeks, there's a problem. So you have to find the right compromise. If you're in an area where they aren't willing to pay above, say, $1.50 a mile, well, guess what? The carrier that has to get their driver home is going to take that load. The big carrier that is needing to move their driver to a better area is going to take that load. So there's always going to be someone that's going to take that lower load. So this whole let the freight sit, that's fine, and that's good. You know, it's good to think that, but there's so many drivers out there that are willing to take that load for lower. So you have to find a compromise. You know, you want to move, you don't want to move cheap, but you don't want to like sit for 2 weeks either. And so what I do is I try to, well, easier said than done, but what one wants to do is try to put themselves in an area where you get consistency. $3 or $4 a mile one way, or no, say $2 a mile one way and $1 a mile the other way. That's not as good as, say, $2.50 a mile one way and $2.50 a mile the other way. Does that make sense? In other words, don't put yourself in an area where the brokers are giving you backhaul rates. The term backhaul rates, that's the cheap stuff. That's the stuff that you deliver in Miami, you're going to get a backhaul rate. Okay. Deliver in Amarillo, you're going to get a backhaul rate. Deliver in Phoenix, you're going to get a backhaul rate. You're going to make $3 going in, you're going to make $1.50 coming out. And then it becomes a law of averages. Trucker Sean, how much more are you making with Jeffrey Like, if you don't mind me asking? I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I am making more. I'm making considerably more. And let's see, I'm making more, but I'm running less miles. So what have I been averaging per mile in loads over the last 2 weeks? I don't have those numbers in front of me, Bill, but it's not impressive because of the rates and because I really haven't run that much in the last 2 weeks. I mean, I spent 4 days in Dallas, and the rate going into Dallas wasn't that great. The rate coming out definitely wasn't that great. I'm not a numbers guy, guys. I don't put out my numbers there. Rick Souza, I'm single, so I have my retirement and health insurance to my rate per mile. I still make more money than company driver plus the freedom. There you go, Rick. Ponzi zombie killer. You have to be in control, no debt, and no one telling you what to do. There you go. Keep your costs low. Now, if you guys want some numbers, Hitchcock Transportation, he did a numbers video this morning, and Christian Trucker did his last 6 weeks video. So everybody check out Christian Trucker. And Ponzi's right. And what it boils down to is if your expenses are high, then you got to run more. Why do you think a lot of lease truck payments are weekly? Because I saw it at Landstar all the time. You got guys that have like $400 or $500 a month truck payments, so they don't run. And guess what? Their truck breaks down. They don't have the extra money to fix it because they didn't, plan with their money. Benjamin Duke says, on your point, my deadhead average 137 miles, but my average rate is 230 all miles, averaging 2,300 a week. That's the other thing, guys. You got to check all your miles, because that's where your true number is. You can sit there and say, "Oh, I'm making $3 a mile." You can sit there and say that all day long. However, if you had to deadhead so much that if you put in all miles, it's $1.50 a mile, then what good is that? You have to keep track of all the miles. For example, if say you're doing a load from, like there was a load when I first started with Landstar that was going from Bloomington, Illinois to Indianapolis, Indiana. And I talked to the agent, I booked it, and he said, "Yeah, I've got one of these every other day." And so when I picked up the load, I talked to the shipper, said, "Oh, the normal Landstar driver was doing that, and what he would do is this load was paying like $250 a mile, right?" The problem is that the guy was like deadheading back to do the next one. So now he's not making $250 a mile, is he? He's making $1.25. Yet the guy will sit and say, "I'm not going to move for less than $250 a mile." But when you deadhead back all the way back, when you treat a one-way trip as a round trip, you're running for less than your minimum rate, and that's where a lot of guys get in trouble because they're not keeping track of all miles. You got to keep track of all miles. I learned that the hard way, guys. A lot of the knowledge that I have, what very little I do, was based off the fact that I have messed up. I have made mistakes. I have done the classic moves that owner-operators make mistakes out here. I've been there, done that, got the shirt. I've done the sitting. I've done the not looking at the true costs. I've done the not doing math. I've done the whole not keeping track of my numbers. And luckily, I've put myself in situations and surrounded myself with good people that when I have made those mistakes, they didn't debilitate my business. We're all on a thin line at times. Those questions seem to be better asked over the phone or in person, don't you think? Right. I agree, nailed it. That's how I am, man. Data is knowing where and when to be in a lane in its cycle. Right. Each lane has a cycle. Just when you figure out one market, it's going to change and another market pops up. There's no, you're going to have spikes lighting up all over the map. Okay. But what you go for is the consistency. Okay. What good is making, it's like I said, what good is making $4 one way and nothing, and then having deadhead in 1,000 miles for a $2 mile load? Does you no good. Stay in an area where you can consistently be $250 a mile. Higher profit, lower miles with the better gross. It's the winter chicken dinner. Right. Pokeman, I've heard that there is $7 per mile loads. Where at? I run 48. I have not seen it. I've never seen a $7 mile load unless it's like going like 10 miles. Your home bills is like overhead, says Jeff Beard. For your company, I made big cuts with my home expenses, put a lot more in my pocket. There you go. We all mess up. You go from your mistakes. Right. How do you know? Like I said, I had a hater tell me that I failed at Landstar. How did I fail? Kept my truck, kept my house, kept my business. How did I fail? I changed the partner that I needed for the way I ran, for the way I needed it to run. That's not failing. I learned from my mistakes. And there was a lot of drivers at Landstar that that glued themselves to dedicated runs. And when they had to get back on the low board, when those dedicated runs ran out, guess what? They were calling me, dude. What the heck? Like I told you, man, I've been fighting this for a while. The low rates at that time. The rates are good now. And they were making a lot of the classic mistakes that new guys make on the low board. Same thing with Schneider. I'll talk to a new Schneider owner operator like, oh yeah, I did this and this. I'm like, don't do that. Been there, done that. Don't do it. You know? CT needs some help. We need to donate some money to pay Jeff to give him a coaching call. CT is determined. I admire him for that point. He's doing all right. I mean, you know, he's learning just like the rest of us. Nailed it says bad choices make for good stories sometimes. No car note, says Long Nose. It's probably the best way to ruin your business, or no, to run your business. Both my cars are paid for. My mortgage is pretty affordable. Okay, so when I was down for a month, we were okay. Had I had a $500 or $600 car payment, you know, and a lot of guys make that mistake. They see those big checks. Oh, I'm netting 2,300 a week, or something like that, 2,500 a week. Not realizing that there are bad months like August, like February, and they buy all these toys. Next thing you know, they're broke. They got plenty of toys, but they're broke because they got, you know, this payment, that payment, that payment, that payment at home for vehicles that don't make you money. Ray David, did you attend GATS 2? Yes, I have like 4 videos out on the subject, Ray David. You got to know your costs and expenses. One thing you can't buy is time, so bird in hand is better than 2 in the bush. Be safe, be compliant, put a smile on your face, says Ponzi. Ponzi's a smart dude. He knows how to run the stock market, and he was a Landstar BCO. And he knows the rough times that we had over there because he and I were there at the same time. You have to decide if you're counting your profit to include your wage, driver wage, versus thinking the total profit is your wage. Right. There you go, Benjamin. It's car insurance on that new $50,000 truck. Exactly. But these are the things that I learned. And that's what my channel's always been about. It's been about me learning. It's been about me learning and taking you guys with me on the trip on learning to be an owner operator. And I've learned a lot in the last 4 years, and there's still a lot more to learn. If I took all my knowledge now and then went back in time to when I bought my Peterbilt, there's a lot of things that would have been different. You know, and there's a lot of resources out there, guys. There's like, you know, Big Rig CEO, he's trying to put out that kind of content. The kind of content for guys that are thinking about becoming owner operators. But once you're making a truck note, you still got to learn. You still got to learn as you go. It takes a certain amount of passion, it takes a certain amount of skill and knowledge, and it takes a certain amount of luck. Luck is a big part. I know guys that buy brand new trucks that put them under because the trucks fail on them. Live within your means. That's how I do it, says Adam Gallagher. Or I'm sorry, Gear Shifter. That's pretty much it, man. I had a friend of mine that we drove at Transland together. He drove the pink breast cancer awareness truck over there. And he and I became pretty good friends, and he told me his dad became a millionaire driving a truck. How did he do it? He did not live beyond his means. He never bought a house, never bought a car until he retired. Invested the money that he made, didn't live outside of his means. He was very frugal with his money. He was comfortable but frugal, and retired with $1 million in the account. Steve Berger, haven't seen you or talked to you in a minute. Dedication, right, Rican. Live the simple life. There you go. Buying fuel in bulk should be an option for truckers. Airlines do it. Hedge fuel accounts make sense. Says Ray David. Considering a carrier I met at GATS booth, but their safer CSA scores are pretty high with a high out of service percentage. Wonder if I'll be getting pulled around back at every scale house. Yes, Brent. Take a look at Trucker's Coat's situation. One of his 3 trucks had out of service violations. So what's that look like on the percentage point? So, that's what you have to consider. So, guys, this lady parked next to me in Joplin the other day, and I was worried about her hitting my truck, right? And I get out, and she's like dropping her trailer because she had a drug test she had to do. Just dropping it there at the Petro, And her front steer tires looked bad, like bad. Company truck, So that safety score is a big deal. I mean, that's why it's there. It's cool, Burger. It's cool. Less is more. Words to live by. There you go, Jeff. Company driver, 35% of the load. Yeah, I don't know, Brent. Maybe you can email me who the company is, and I might have better insight. But I don't really know. I only know like one friend that did percentage as a company driver. Cousin of mine runs those loads. He runs 7 days a week. Interstate, no high insurance, everything paid off, so overhead is low. APUC has low fuel compared to OTR regional. It's how you set yourself up. But anyways, we're over an hour. I think my son's getting hungry. I'm getting hungry. Little Viking coach, that truck had steer tire blowout, killed 7 in that bus in New Mexico on I-40. Man, that's a bad deal, dude. That's a bad deal. The steer tires you don't mess around with, man. You don't mess around. There was a driver at GATS that was commenting on his steer tires. Like, even if they're legal, man, you don't mess around with them. There's also a reason why carriers like Landstar, Schneider, Like Trucking have 90-day or 120-day inspections, because you need a second set of eyes to spot the stuff that you may not be able to get underneath and see. So I think that's an excellent policy. Benjamin says, Brent, is there a reason? There's a reason why they're not repairing their equipment. They're either dumb or no money. Either way, that's not good. Anyways, guys, this has been a good discussion, and we didn't discuss any of the trendy things that everybody else is talking about, so that's good. Ricardo says there are rich truckers out there for sure. Are there any books out there about it? Not really, because it's such a, you can have 100 trucks and 100 people do it differently. And here's my thing. You guys that are going to GBATs, do this. Go up to the guys with the nicest trucks, okay? And ask them how they do it. How do you afford to do what you do? And then you got to take the notes. There's videos out there, some good, some bad. There's a lot of knowledge out there, but there's you can't go to the library and find a book. So, unfortunately, Ricardo. But Ricardo, when it comes down to it, it's money management and creating safety nets, and don't put yourself in a situation where you're gambling everything. That's where you're going to run into problems. A lot of people talk the rich game, but they make everything. Absolutely. 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 So with that being said, thanks for watching, guys. This has been a good weekend live. I might actually leave this up. And follow me on Instagram. You'll see how many pens I got. I got 24 pens is what I counted. And Georgia Wendy gave me this, tough tested. It's got a bunch of sharp tool things. And a bottle opener. And I got flashlights and hats and I got this thing, which not sure why I bought it now. The secret to success, says Low Bike Coach, is a lot of shower credits. There it is, guys. Drop the mic. That's it. What is this? Here, let's open it up. It's an all-in-one tool, Burger. You have, it's got a file. Okay. It's got a file. Okay. It has, I gotta get my glasses on. My hair's still wet. Took a shower earlier. Okay. It has, oh, this camera sucks. It's like a wrench. You got 8mm, 6mm, and 4mm. It's got a little Phillips thing. Not sure what this crevice is for. It's got a bottle opener, and it's got like a ruler. So it's an all-in-one tool. It's metric. The ruler's in centimeters. So that's what that is. No, the thing in the box. Oh, God. Okay, what this is, it's a speaker system that also acts as a power bank and a flashlight. They had one of these on display at Tough Tested, and I was very impressed with it. It's got Bluetooth speakers. You can hook your phone up to it, listen to music. It's like a job site kind of thing. And you can charge your phone with it. And I think you can talk on your phone with it. It's got a microphone and, let's see, up to 20 hours playtime. Power bank, flashlight. It'll take calls. And it's weatherproof, shockproof. James also bought one of these, and Roscoe, and he used it at the at the cookout, I guess. It's the Snorla's Hobby Channel. Anyways, guys, was that loud? We're done. And if you want to make the money, yeah, look at that. Money roll. Right, right, right. That's owner operator money right there. Actually, it's just a thing they're passing out. It's like it's not real. I was waiting for someone to like comment on that on my Instagram. All right, I've been trying to leave this live feed for a little bit. So thanks for watching, guys. Check out my GATS videos if you haven't. This has been a good discussion. We'll leave it up. And you guys take it easy. Be good to each other. And don't sweat the small stuff. Just think of the big picture. So, yep, Burger, I'll be back out Tuesday. So hopefully. Depends on if the brokers want to pay or not. So, all right, guys. Take it easy. And that's it, man. That's it.